On July 14, 2007, Pascal Payet was sitting in the recreation yard of Grasse prison in southern France. The prison had reinforced security after his previous helicopter escape 3 years earlier. Guards constantly monitored the skies, and the yard had been covered with metal netting designed specifically to prevent aerial extractions. Payet was considered one of France's most dangerous inmates, serving a 30-year sentence for murder and armed robbery. At 10:45 a.m., prisoners heard the unmistakable sound of rotor blades approaching. A hijacked helicopter descended directly over the yard. The pilot had been forced at gunpoint to fly to the prison. Within seconds, masked men used bolt cutters to slice through the supposedly impenetrable netting. Guards rushed to respond, but the operation moved with military precision. The accomplices lowered a rope to Payet, who grabbed it immediately. In less than 4 minutes, he was lifted into the sky and disappeared over the Mediterranean coastline. The reinforced security measures meant to stop him had simply delayed the escape by minutes. French authorities launched a massive manhunt across southern Europe, but Payet remained free for months. Alfred Hines was working in the machine shop at Nottingham Prison in England. He had been convicted of robbery and sentenced to 12 years, but he maintained his innocence relentlessly. For weeks, Hines had been secretly studying the prison's lock mechanisms during his work detail. He noticed that the workshop's padlock could be manipulated with a specially bent piece of metal. That afternoon, while guards changed shifts, Hines used his homemade tool to unlock the workshop door. He walked calmly across the yard wearing civilian clothes he had hidden weeks earlier. At the main gate, he told the guard he was a civilian contractor finishing his shift. The guard looked at his clipboard and hesitated. Hines' name wasn't on the approved visitor list. The guard reached for his radio to verify the story. Hines bolted, sprinting toward the outer wall. Alarms blared across the prison as guards rushed to pursue him. Despite the failed gate attempt, Hines scaled the 20-foot wall using a rope he had concealed. He dropped to freedom on the other side and vanished into the city, beginning a legendary 5-year run from British authorities. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. On July 11, 2015, El Chapo was sleeping in his cell at Altiplano Maximum Security Prison in Mexico. The facility was considered escape-proof, with electronic surveillance monitoring every movement. Guards conducted hourly checks on the drug lord, who had been recaptured just 17 months earlier. At 8:52 p.m., surveillance cameras recorded El Chapo pacing in his cell before entering the shower area. Minutes passed. Guards assumed he was bathing as usual. At 9:17 p.m., a guard noticed El Chapo hadn't emerged. He approached the cell and peered into the shower. The floor had a gaping hole, roughly 20 inches square, hidden behind the shower wall partition. El Chapo had vanished completely. Investigation revealed a staggering betrayal. Prison officials had been bribed for months to ignore the construction noise. Engineers had dug a tunnel nearly 1 mile long, equipped with lighting, ventilation, and a motorcycle on rails. The tunnel emerged in a house outside the prison perimeter. Guards who were supposed to protect Mexico's highest security facility had instead sold access to his cartel. El Chapo rode the motorcycle through the tunnel to freedom while his corrupted guards maintained the illusion of security. John Dillinger was locked inside Crown Point Jail in Indiana, a facility officials called escape-proof. He had been captured after a violent bank robbery spree across the Midwest. Dillinger faced the death penalty and was guarded around the clock by armed deputies. The warden publicly boasted that not even Dillinger could escape his fortress. On the morning of the escape, Dillinger requested to speak with the warden privately. He produced what appeared to be a pistol and took the warden hostage at gunpoint. Guards froze as Dillinger forced the warden to unlock cells and arm him with real weapons from the prison arsenal. He locked the warden and guards in cells, mocking them as he departed. Dillinger drove away in the sheriff's own car, crossing state lines into Illinois. Later investigation revealed the shocking truth. The gun Dillinger used was carved from wood and blackened with shoe polish. He had fooled the entire prison staff with a fake weapon. The warden's reputation was destroyed. Within months, federal agents hunted Dillinger to Chicago. On July 22, 1934, FBI agents ambushed him outside a movie theater. Dillinger was shot and died in the alley, just 4 months after his legendary wooden gun escape. During the winter of 1962, Frank Morris was housed in Cell Block B at Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary in San Francisco Bay. The prison had never been successfully escaped from in its 29-year history. Morris befriended brothers John and Clarence Anglin, who occupied nearby cells. The 3 men discovered that the concrete around their cell vents was deteriorating from salt air exposure. Over 6 months, they secretly chipped away at the vents using stolen spoons and a drill made from a vacuum cleaner motor. They created dummy heads from soap, toilet paper, and real hair collected from the prison barbershop. The heads would fool guards during nighttime checks. On June 11, 1962, after lights out, all three men placed the dummy heads in their beds and squeezed through the widened vents. They climbed through utility corridors to the roof, then descended to the shore. The family conspiracy extended beyond the brothers. They had constructed a raft from stolen raincoats, vulcanized together with heat and glue. They paddled into the freezing bay waters and disappeared. Morning guards discovered the elaborate ruse. FBI launched the largest manhunt in history. The men were never found, officially presumed drowned. However, evidence later emerged suggesting they survived, with possible family contacts helping them disappear. For 3 weeks in May 2015, Joyce Mitchell had been feeling increasingly anxious at Clinton Correctional Facility in New York. She worked as a prison tailor supervisor and had grown close to inmates Matt and Sweat. They had convinced her to smuggle hacksaw blades, chisels, and drill bits hidden inside frozen hamburger meat. Mitchell believed she was helping them with a harmless project. On the night of June 6, 2015, the two convicted murderers cut through steel cell walls, accessed catwalk passages behind their cells, and broke through a brick wall. They crawled through steam pipes, cut their way through a chain and lock, and emerged from a manhole outside the prison walls. They left a taunting note, "Have a nice day." Guards discovered them missing during the 5:30 a.m. count. Investigation quickly revealed Mitchell's involvement. She had been manipulated and groomed for months. Mitchell confessed, explaining how Matt and Sweat had promised to take her away to a better life. The slow realization of her betrayal devastated her. She was arrested and sentenced to prison herself. After 3 weeks on the run, Matt was shot and killed by Border Patrol. Sweat was captured 2 days later, shot twice but surviving. The slow discovery of the internal conspiracy shocked the corrections system.